welcome to 90 for Chill, the podcast. Unfortunately, this week, I was unable to actually get this episode properly produced. Some miscommunications with my guests resulted in only half the conversation being picked up upon. I'm going to try to figure out what to do about this Spaceballs episode. We will do our best to get you something next week. I will be communicating with our guests to see if there's anything we can do to fix this. I guess this was bound to happen. At least I think every podcast I love has an episode that goes to crap. With all that said, I still got some content for you. We'll just get right to that. I will have something to make up for it next week. I'm very sorry about this, but thank you very much for being loyal listeners. If you want to fulfill this void that I just have now and be the guest on the show, I know the mistakes that were made. I know how we can work around that. So if you have a director, actor, theme, or movie you want to talk about, as long as we focus on anything under an hour and 40 minutes, 100 minutes, I'll be happy to have you on. You can drop me an email. The address is rustthebus07@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at catbusruss. All my writings can be found on maineventofthedead.com. Thanks for being loyal. I am so sorry for this mishap. If you want to stick around, we'll have some movie talk still. But it's not the Spaceballs, the podcast that I was hoping for. My apologies.
This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Thanks for coming back to 90 for Chill, the podcast. And before we get on with this episode, originally I was going to drop an Allie's Accessory Shop on Etsy's trash feature review, like I do at least bi-weekly, and we will still get to that. It was for The Marine, starring John Cena, and since it's wrestling related, I think I may have worked myself into a shoot. So, making a joke about Chris Benoit might be in poor taste, so I'm just going to stick that at the end of this episode. But in the meantime, I was looking on iTunes, trying to find features that are relatively inexpensive, which I think we could all enjoy. Top of the list, Maximum Overdrive, the Stephen King directed train wreck starring Emilio Estevez about machines becoming sentient and just wanting to wipe us out. And it's just definitely so bad it's good. I also saw that The Hidden is still $7. That is a 80s feature with Kyle MacLachlan and the guy who played the male lead in Flashdance. I am sorry, I really am just slipping my mind with that name. But it's about an alien detective hunting down an alien criminal, and these aliens can go and just swap bodies and basically use them as armor. And I haven't seen it all, but just the craziness, and Kyle MacLachlan in the mid-'80s is usually gold. Last but not least is a film called Office Uprising. The trailer opens with Karen Sani, the actor who plays the taxi driver Dupinder in the Deadpool franchise, handing out steaks, and one of them to a reluctant Kurt Fuller, probably best known from Ghostbusters 2, perhaps No Holds Barred. So let's keep that wrestling in the podcast, I suppose. But with all that said, let me get to the show.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll. Bring the noise.
90 for Chill, the podcast, proudly presents to you Allie's Accessories Shop on Etsy's Trash Feature Review.
Excuse me. Everybody down. Enjoy the rest of your day.
What if we just took off? Get up in the morning and go somewhere. Come on!
Okay, yes.
All units be on the lookout for a black Cadillac. Suspect's extremely dangerous.
Cadillac man, huh?
You have officers down, multiple assailants. They have a hostage. It's my wife.
Guy called in. John Fright, his next Marine. Would somebody please shoot this guy? What does it look like we're doing? Missing.
This October, meet a one-man strike force that never surrenders.
I tried to kill this guy twice today. He just won't die.
John Cena.
What happened?
A Marine showed up, that's what.
And I've just completed a second chance viewing of The Marine with John Cena from 2006, actually filmed in 2004, justifying the entire Carlito hiring Jesus to stab John Cena angle. It's a feature that is a pretty disposable action feature that kind of gives it some charm, I suppose. There's a lot of things that just aren't there, I should say. The effects with your explosions and such just don't hold up. Sorry, CG explosions, bad idea. Especially when Vince McMahon gets the genuine stuff. In 2007, I've heard some stuff about Chris Benoit hazing, which kind of makes me want to rethink about him, but thank you, Mr. Benoit, for ruining Vince McMahon's idea of killing himself on screen. Robert Patrick's performance kind of justifies a watch for this, as he plays the criminal, I guess, since I'm a fan of the second From Dusk Till Dawn, that, hey, if you got him in a heist, it might be worthwhile. And John Cena doesn't do a bad job acting. He emotes pretty well very early in his career as an actor, not a professional wrestler. So that's kind of charming. The script really tries to play on Americana, I suppose. Like, we are definitely pushing the big lie of the W. Bush administration with how our hero, the Marine, John Cena, gets ejected from the military because of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. We all know now that that just doesn't hold up and justifies why Mike the Miz gets any kind of bullshit for selling this feature or franchise. It's fun to experiment with it, to just see what this film is in terms of how it affects John Cena, how in terms it affects the entire WWE Studio system. It's kind of surprising that we just don't throw extras in the entire feature, but hey, Ron DeSantos just doesn't want to give Florida money to avoid SAD, I guess.
Can I hear a wahoo?